Hello, you're watching Outsiders. I'm James Morrow, here as always with Rowan Dean and Rita Panahy. And in a moment, I'm going to talk about the eating the cats memes flooding the internet and explain why they just might win Trump the election. But first, Kamala Harris's handlers have finally let her do another interview, just her second since she became the Democrats' candidate. And let me tell you, I think it is starting to become apparent why they are so keen to keep Kamala Harris under wraps until polling day. You see, it turns out that Kamala Harris just isn't very bright. And so instead of being able to provide thoughtful answers to questions, all she is capable of is reciting set speeches like an over-rehearsed beauty pageant contestant. On Friday, Harris did an interview with local Philadelphia news anchor Brian Taff in the must-win state of Pennsylvania. And let's just say we did not see a lot of nimble intellectual footwork here. Have a look, for example, at what happened when Harris was asked what she would do to bring down prices, which have gone up something like 20% for food over the course of the Biden-Harris administration.
When we talk about bringing down prices and making life more affordable for people, what are one or two specific things you have in mind for that?
Well, I'll start with this. I grew up a middle-class kid.
Hang on a second. Where have we heard that before?
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
Oh, yeah, of course. We saw it at the debate. So spontaneous, so genuine. And I'm sure that struggling Americans are glad that she grew up middle class, the daughter of two prominent academics. But what does that have to do with the price of milk at Costco? Let's go back to the interview and see some more of her answers. See if you can figure out how she's going to bring prices down.
My mother raised my sister and me. She worked very hard. She was able to finally save up enough money to buy our first house when I was a teenager. I grew up in a community of hardworking people, you know, construction workers and nurses and teachers. And I try to explain to some people who may not have had the same experience, you know, but a lot of people will relate to this. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood of folks who were very proud of their lawn.
Ah, yes, construction workers in Berkeley, proud of their lawns. That was amazing. I particularly loved, though, again, how the fact that her neighbors growing up took care of their gardens might somehow magically bring down inflation. But, as they say, there's more. There was this mess of an answer when she was asked about trying to appeal to Trump voters.
What do you understand his appeal to be, and how do you speak to his voters? Or maybe people who just share his values but are open to something else?
Based on experience and a lived experience, no. In my heart, I know, in my soul, I know that the vast majority of us as Americans have so much more in common than what separates us. And I also believe that I am accurate in knowing that most Americans want a leader who brings us together as Americans and not someone who professes to be a leader who is trying to have us point our fingers at each other.
You know, I think I'm going to have to take back what I said before. Did I say that she had pre-prepared answers? No way. Did you see her grasping for words here? It's like she never prepped for this very basic question at all. I mean, it's just amazing to me that after Joe Biden's word salads, the Democrats have put up someone just as inarticulate to replace him. Though perhaps that's the point, just to have a figurehead in power who then the same cabal that's been running the show running the country into the ground at home and into endless wars abroad, well, they can just keep the show on rolling. But then there was also this.
Look, we don't have enough housing in America. We have a housing supply shortage. And what that means, in particular for so many younger Americans, the American dream is elusive. It's just actually not attainable.
the American dream is unobtainable? Kamala, Boomala, you've been in power for 3.5 years. This happened on your watch. But of course, Harris still has a plan for the future, right?
My approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years to catch up to the 21st century around, again, capacity, but also challenges.
Does she even know what she is talking about? She sounds like Bart Simpson doing a book report where he hasn't read the book beforehand. Anyway, speaking of Harris not knowing what she was talking about, check out this clip of U.S. soldiers serving overseas who took issue with her statement at last week's presidential debate that there are no troops in combat zones thanks to the successful world peace-creating foreign policy of the Biden-Harris administration.
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world the first time this century. What? But let's understand.
So where the are we right now?